New year, new algorithm that still hates me, by the way, and I need to tell you, forgive me for being absent. I had a lot of things to do, and in future I'll try to at least go with one upload a month. Try, not promising anything. Anyway, let's go continue with Forgive Me Father. Let's try to keep the content simple. What's in it? What's in the game? What's positive? What's negative? What's something in the middle? And my opinion on it. And of course, let's dive in with specs. When it comes to specifications, Forgive Me Father 1 is very easy on demands. Basically, even though it's very one of the newer kind of games, it definitely has a lot of easier way to go on your old hardware. For example, you need 4 GB GPU, which can be found somewhere around 30 quid or something like that, even in those hard days of Ramageddon. Of course, it's very much desirable that you have 16 GB of RAM, whether it's DDR3, 4 or 5, you know. And of course, it's very desirable that you have at least a quad-core CPU. Maybe dual-core can work sometimes, but it's gonna be struggling a bit with loading of new areas. So keep in mind, so an average quad-core from 2015 can definitely push this game without any problems. And that's of course on the lower part of the hardware, lower settings, lower everything. In my case, I run it on the new AM5 build I managed to do with 3060 12GB model and 32GB of DDR5 on 5200 MHz, and of course with the 6-core 9600X. Of course, it's a bit of an overkill, but not one of the bestest of the best AM platforms, but can do the job, as you can see. So, now that we established we can run this game, let's see. Boom shooters are a kind of the old / new things in the market. Basically started with Doom, old Doom, and continuing onwards today. So this is a boomer shooter, basically with Cthulhu mythos in it. Spoiler ahead, if you know what I'm gonna talk about, at the end, of course, you're gonna be fighting Cthulhu alongside his own monsters throughout the levels. The level starts very simple. You have the story that is grounded in 2 characters. One is canon, so because the game is old, I'm gonna just spoil it for you. For those who don't want to get spoiled, this is a warning, fair warning for me. The canon ending and the canon story is from the priest side. Of course, you have the journalist as well, but the priest side is definitely the canon. Therefore, it continues onwards in Forgive Me Father 2. So, for Forgive Me Father 1, let's continue onwards. Both of these characters have quite an arsenal to dispatch on the enemies that you're gonna encounter. The trick is very simple. You point the gun at the enemy and you shoot it. Basically, it's not much of the nature of talking with the enemy. So the only thing that is interactable is the pillars with the drunken sailor, sailor that will actually help you out with game saves. This is the only way to save the game and your progress. So you don't have any quick saves in case if you are wondering if you manage to go in the bad area, you're gonna have to retread the old area and continue onwards from the encounter that you managed to fail. So keep that in mind. Of course, the weapons are there, the enemies are there, the enemies are various. So for example, the enemies start with the simple, stupid enemies that are going in hordes. Those are zombies. Then after that, you're gonna have several of the ranged enemies and then added more melee types of weapons on the enemies that are going to be encountering you. So you're going to have to switch between melee enemies and the ranged enemies. To be honest with you, they are not so smart. It's basically they are relying on numbers, pure sheer numbers to overwhelm you, and your best weapon against them is keep on moving, providing yourself with enough space to open fire and continue on moving against the enemies and keeping the flow of the game in your favor. Before I go for the weapons, let me just tell you about the abilities that these 2 characters have. One is the healing option, the other one is the stunning option, the second one is the invulnerability option, and the fourth one is the, infinite amount of ammo. The trick is very simple. You fill those things by getting the madness meter on the bottom right on the screen. As the madness meter fills up, as it fills up, of course, you're gonna have a very simple option to see your screen going gray. You're gonna deal more damage and you're gonna receive a bit less damage. The trick is very simple, as that's the basically of the awards for you going on a kill streak against the enemies. And then with that thing, of course, as you kill enemies, you upgrade yourself via the points of experience points. So the more enemies you kill, the better your experience points are gonna be, and you're gonna have to choose what kind of upgrades you want to pick up. Weapon upgrades, of course, they are being acquired by killing enemies, as I said before. So the trick is very simple. You have to choose between what kind of upgrades you want. Do you want to make your Tommy gun into a laser rifle, or do you gonna have to go old-fashioned way of upgrading it and increase its rate of fire? And of course, buy other upgrade after the rate of fire. You're gonna have to use like extra HP stuff or extra armor. Depending on different weapons, different kind of path of upgrades are definitely there. So this actually adds more replayability in the game and definitely adds a bit more flavor in it, unlike other games that just are simple stat padding bonuses. Of course, each of these weapons are definitely useful for different kind of occasions. You have the rapid fire weapon that can easily destroy a lot of easier to kill enemies, but also you have to keep in mind of saving the other weapons for the bigger encounters, of course. And I played this game on medium difficulty, so I basically managed to have at least decent amount of experience in it. Of course, to progress in this game, the problem is very simple. You have a lot of things to find, like keys and everything else. Also, you manage to find some of the secrets that can actually give you extra weapons, extra armor, extra HP, and ammunition, of course. All those things are definitely nice to have, but of course, suddenly we are getting into some of the problems that this game is having, of course. Before I go for the good and bad parts, let me just take care of the Joe average things. Joe average things are basically the enemy types. Enemy types over here are definitely escalating quite quickly, and there is a power spike in the game. So basically, as you are progressing with the easier amount of enemies, all of a sudden you're gonna have to adapt very quickly to the new environment, and you have to actually be a bit more faster on the keyboard, meaning you have to know the enemy pattern of behavior, and you have to exploit it at the maximum if you want to even survive on even medium difficulties, let alone on the harder difficulties where the massive amount of problems are gonna be coming from the ammunition management. So all those things are coming in handy to piss you off quite greatly. And of course, let's not forget about, I don't know, and many people don't know, how the bloody insanity meter works and how it fills up the power levels. And of course, even the maximum amount of power levels, once they are upgraded, they are not benefiting you that much. Now let me start about some bad things now. The bad things that are in the game are very simple. No minimap, first one. So if you are playing the game, if you have a random phone call and you have to take a shit or take a piss, something like that, then you come back in, and if you forget where the fuck you were going. It's that simple. Especially one of the levels with the fortress level, it's just pissing you off, you know. I mean, not nice at all. It kills the game pacing, it kills the encounter level. Of course, there are some puzzles. People that done these puzzles are definitely fans of the game like Half-Life, and I appreciate that very much. But a boomer shooter with puzzles, yeah, they sometimes don't mix. It's like mixing water and oil. You're gonna see the differences pretty much, creaking out. Of course, some of the new games are starting to incorporate that, but call me old-fashioned, I still like to have a lot of action than solely puzzles. Of course, as well as the fish level. Holy shit, I mean, I know, you have to shoot at the fish and be wary of the water at the same time. The trick is very simple. You cannot be doing both. You have to know a predetermined way of attack, predetermined way of the aisles getting up and down. The trick is very simple. You are just being a bit more screwed up. And this is definitely contrary to the level with the phase prism, where you have to destroy the shields for your the enemy boss and kill its minions, which is totally different kind of thing, and like the fish level and the other level that I just mentioned. This thing is good. And there's that contradiction in the game. Basically, it's some of the decisions are pretty bad, the other decisions are massively good. So let's continue on the good parts. Of course, when this game works, it works very well. Now that I mentioned to burn all my bridges, let's continue on the positive stuff. The positive stuff is, well, if you regard and forget about the maze kind of design of the levels and hit or miss bosses or enemy placement, when this thing works, it's pretty damn good. And the enemies, the flow is definitely there. What I want to tell you about it is a certain kind of level that is very good. Contrary to the bad example I just mentioned, there is a good thing when you have to destroy the shield of the enemy and deal with its minions, then go after it. And you have enough, how should I say, enough space to breathe, to look around you, to see and take the atmosphere of the level and continue onwards. That's a very good game design, and those parts are definitely in, and they're just mixed with this little bit, as you call them, bad parts. So, you know, it's hit or miss sometimes. But the developers definitely did try their best to balance the game and make it playable, make it enjoyable. Not just that, the developers also are definitely into pop culture, so you might have seen in the factory levels somewhere a thumbs up from the old Terminator reference. Of course, there are other references there as well. And of course, if you like Cthulhu mythos and you're a big fan of Lovecraft and also like first-person shooters, you're gonna be absolutely enjoying this thing. The upgrade path with the weapon wheel, the upgrade path is definitely there, and you are gonna be enjoying it as well because you have a motivation to go with the multiple playthroughs of the game, and those playthroughs are definitely gonna have you a bit more appreciation of the game as well, and maybe even, who knows, forget about key hunting and the maze levels, and maybe this time when you take a shit, you'll actually be able to remember where the heck have you stopped. So, also sometimes I see over here that sometimes developers definitely pay homages to the influencers or YouTubers by covering them. One of the YouTubers covered early access of this game, got immortalized in one of the levels, G-Man Lives. Of course, I will never be good as a G-Man of a YouTuber, neither as a good reviewer as him. So, sorry for that. In the meantime, I'll try my best. So, do I recommend this game? Yes. Do try to get it on discount though, because I got it on a Steam discount, but I had some of the money from CSGO loot boxes, and I managed to get this discount and got all 2 games, Forgive Me Father 1 and 2, of course, in a single bundle. That's how I managed to get it. But of course, as I said before, if you have an old PC, you can also use this game on it. So not just too old, but at least 2015-ish, 16-ish, maybe even 17 Joe average PC for those years. And if you have things like that, like with 16 gigabytes of RAM, you can definitely run this thing. Even on the hard drives this game can be run, but the trick is, be careful about the old ancient hard drives that are baby failing. Those things can have some issues with the frame pacing and the loading stuff. So yeah, of course, I do recommend this game totally, and you're gonna be enjoying, as I said before, if you manage to give it a chance and even go through the bad parts, you're gonna have pretty much many good parts of the game to enjoy. As for me, I have to say thank you for watching this video. I just started this thing. I'm not sure if I can get every two weeks a video, but at least one a month, which would be desirable from my side, because I have a lot of catalog in my Steam library and GOG library to go through. Of course, don't forget the Epic one that sometimes gets you a decent offer for free. So yeah, basically, I'm gonna have a lot of work in front of me to deal with. In the meantime, I'm also doing a regular job, doing all the house tidings, running regular life. I have a pretty squeezed up schedule during the week, so I'm not sure how much frequently I'll be able to deal with this kind of tempo, but I'll do my best, of course. So I hope I see you all very soon. Till then, stay safe. As you can hear, in the meantime, I'm still getting messages, so I don't have the time to do a retake. So, stay safe, see you again soon, and thank you everybody for watching. Bye bye.